So one of the things you talked about is, how do we have a process? One of the things that we spend a lot of time on in teaching our clients is values. And I'd love for you to speak to that as well, because I feel like when the values are in alignment, there's a great synergy that takes place. But how do you see yourself, or how do you see others incorporating their values into either how they nurture people or how they communicate with people?
So values, I think this kind of we have to be self-aware what's actually valuable to us to begin with. I think that's a good starting point. So if we're selling, or we're offering a lifestyle change program, do I value that enough to practice it myself? Right. So something like the metabolic reset, I've done like 4 times. So I've gone through so I understand. Also, I can empathize with. So it can be challenging, but I also know the reward at the other end of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I that was very important for me to experience and to see, like, for myself. Because also, if you're just starting and you're like, oh, I don't have any client stories to tell, like, you can start with your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, when let's say I stopped using, added oils into my cooking, I felt so much better. Then when you tell that story, people are like, oh, if, Aaron's doing it, then, and he's done all this thing, it must be something to it,
Mm-hmm.
which is true. So in terms of values, do we practice our own values? Can we demonstrate them? Are we clear what those are? Like, I believe in being coachable and treating anything I go into as with an open mind, being open to learning.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're clear on our own values, and then we can communicate that on a call and share how that's important for the process to work.
Mm. Yeah. And, I would even go as far, depending on, how people are learning about you, spelling it out. We even do that in our webinars, and some of the trainings that we do is we share our values, right? Towards the first 20% of the presentation, so that people can decide if they're in alignment or if they're not. And one of the things that you may put down in your values are some of the, potential objections that might come up, right? So if you're common objection that comes up, I think the most common one is money, right? It seems to roll off some people's tongues, and of course it could be a limiting belief that you have to overcome. But knowing that, we want to incorporate that into how we position our program, and we might even use the word affordable, right? So therefore, it's kind of checking off the boxes, right? You might even say, hey, we wanted to create a program that's family inclusive, right? Where you get buy-in from everyone in the household, including your spouse, right? So you're already addressing some of those objections that are coming up for them, and they're nodding their heads thinking, oh, this program is for me. Before you even presented any case studies or any stories, they're already nodding their head and saying, wow, okay, they've taken all my concerns into consideration, and now this person can lean in, right? So I think there's a great opportunity to present our values in a certain way that handles people's, kind of inborn objections, so that they're leaning into the presentation that we're doing, and they feel like, wow, this program was truly designed for me. So there's value in presenting our values. Let's put it that way.